Caught my fiancée cheating with her ex, so I exposed her lies, ended our engagement, and moved on. Now she's begging for forgiveness. I'm Roman, 29, commercial pilot. Writing this from 35,000 feet somewhere over the Atlantic, finally ready to tell this story. 6 months ago, I was engaged to Isla, 27, a pediatric radiologist. We'd been together 3 years, engaged for 6 months. Our story seemed like destiny. She was the radiologist who caught a cardiac anomaly during my routine scan after a minor skiing injury. That catch prevented what could have been a fatal complication down the line. I thought she'd saved my life. Turns out, she just delayed its implosion. Let me paint you a picture of how I thought my life was going. Beautiful, brilliant fiancée from a respected medical family. Her father was chief of surgery at a major hospital. Her mother ran a medical charity. We had a stunning downtown apartment, my name on the lease, important later, a Range Rover, also mine, and plans for 3 kids. I'd already started a college fund, had picked out the neighborhood where we'd buy our first house, even researched the best private schools. I was all in. She was halfway out the door, I just didn't know it yet. The first crack appeared 4 months ago. January. She started picking up emergency shifts at odd hours. Now, I'm not medical, but my buddy Theo's wife works ER at the same hospital. Pediatric radiology doesn't have emergency shifts, kids get scheduled scans, emergency imaging goes through general radiology. When I mentioned this casually, Isla had an answer ready, they're cross-training us for better emergency preparedness. After that shooting at the Children's Hospital in Ohio, administration wants all pediatric staff able to handle trauma scenarios. Sounded reasonable. I didn't verify it then. That was my first mistake, not trusting my gut. Next flag, her phone suddenly needed a passcode. For 3 years, we'd had open phones. Not from distrust, just convenience. Hey, can you check my texts while I'm driving? That kind of thing. Suddenly, she needed privacy for patient information. Again, reasonable explanation. Again, I let it slide. Then came the conference in Boston. She left Friday morning, said she'd be back Sunday night. Friday evening, I'm scrolling Instagram and see she's been tagged at Maria in Manhattan. The post was deleted within minutes, but I'd already screenshot it. When she called that night, I could hear Manhattan traffic, not Boston. I said nothing, just listened to her talk about fascinating presentations on pediatric brain imaging. That's when I shifted from confused to strategic. See, I investigate aviation incidents as a side consulting gig. I know how to piece together timelines, cross-reference data, establish patterns. So I started treating this like a crash investigation. Gather data first, establish facts, then determine cause. I created a spreadsheet. Date, time, stated location, actual location, when determinable, witnesses, evidence. Started checking her hospital schedule against her claimed shifts. Amazing how many emergency calls happened when she wasn't on the schedule. February 15th was when I knew for certain. She said she was working a night shift. I had a flight to Denver that got canceled, weather issue. Came home at 11 p.m. to grab some stuff before heading to a hotel, airline policy for standbys. Her car wasn't there. Called the hospital, pretending to be a worried patient's father looking for Dr. Isla Harmon. I'm sorry sir, Dr. Harmon isn't scheduled tonight. Would you like me to page the on-call radiologist? I drove to the hospital anyway, just to be thorough. Her car wasn't in the employee lot. But her phone location, we shared for safety, remember, showed her at the Meridian Towers, a luxury complex on the other side of town. So I went there. Waited in my car like a F-King private investigator. At 2:14 a.m., she walked out of the building. With him. Nico Castellano. Her ex from med school. The one who meant nothing, who was just a study partner, who had moved to London for investment banking. Apparently, London had gotten a lot closer. They kissed in the doorway. Not a friendly peck. A kiss that said they'd just spent the last 4 hours F-King. She was wearing the dress I'd bought her for Christmas. He had his hand on her sauce like he owned it. I filmed everything. Stayed calm. Kept my phone steady. Got the building name in the shot, a timestamp from the bank across the street, their faces clear in the doorway light. Then I went home and planned. Here's what most people would do: confront immediately. Scream, yell, throw her SHT on the lawn. That's what she expected if I ever found out. Drama she could spin, manipulate, maybe even turn around on me. But I'm not most people. I transferred $47,000 from our joint savings to my personal account. All legal. I'd contributed $51,000 of the $58,000 total. Left her the rest. I contacted our wedding vendors through my lawyer cousin, exploring cancellation options without actually canceling yet. I screenshot every suspicious text, every lie, every working late message while her hospital's public schedule showed her off duty. I copied the metadata from every photo she'd sent from conferences showing Manhattan locations when she was supposed to be in Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore. And I kept playing the loving fiancé. Brought her coffee in the mornings. Kissed her goodbye. Asked about her day. Even FK'd her twice, with CNDMS, I'm not stupid. She had no idea I knew. That gave me all the power. Our engagement party was scheduled for March 21st. 150 guests. Country club. Both families flying in. Her parents had spent $30,000 on it, showing off their successful daughter to their medical community friends. I had 2 weeks to prepare something special. Told Isla I was making a surprise video tribute to our relationship. She was touched, said it was so romantic. Even gave me access to her Google Photos to get pictures. That's when I found the archived folder labeled conferences. Wanna guess what was in there? Photos from hotel rooms. Nico in a towel. Mirror selfies and lingerie I'd never seen. Screenshots of their texts. Can't wait to taste you again. Last night was incredible. She still doesn't suspect anything? No, Roman's sweet but oblivious. That last one hit different. Not just cheating, actively mocking me. I added everything to my evidence folder. Then I created 2 videos. Video 1, The Decoy. Beautiful montage of our relationship, set to perfect by Ed Sheeran. Showed it to Isla the night before the party. She cried, said it was perfect. Video 2, The Real One. March 21st. The country club was perfect. Isla wore a white dress, ironic, looked stunning. Her parents held court, her father telling everyone about his daughter's impeccable character and how proud they were of the woman she'd become. After dinner, I stood up for the toast. Clinked my glass. The room went silent. 3 years ago, this incredible woman saved my life. She caught something during a routine scan that could have killed me. I thought that meant we were destined to be together. That someone who could save a life would never destroy one. Pause for effect. Isla was beaming. I've prepared a video tribute to our relationship. To show everyone here who Isla really is. The first 30 seconds were the decoy video. Sweet photos, romantic trips. Then it cut. Security footage from the Meridian Towers, timestamp visible. Isla walking out with Nico at 2 a.m. Gasp from the crowd. Screenshot of her text, Roman sweet but oblivious. Her father stood up. Photo of her and Nico in the hotel, her in lingerie. Her mother's hand went to her mouth. Screenshot of her hospital schedule showing her off duty during an emergency shift. The room erupted. But I kept going. The video was only 3 minutes, but it covered 3 months of lies. Every timestamp matched. Every lie documented. The final shot, her kissing Nico in his doorway, dated 1 week ago. Isla ran for the door. Her cousin tried to stop me from speaking. I just raised my voice. The engagement is over. Isla, you have 30 days to vacate my apartment. Your belongings will be boxed and available for pickup. The ring has already been returned. I pulled out the ring box, opened it to show it was empty. A theatrical touch, but effective. For those who've traveled to celebrate with us, the bar remains open. Please, enjoy the party her parents paid for. Consider it a celebration of truth. Then I walked out. The aftermath was immediate. My phone exploded, calls, texts, voicemails. I didn't answer any from her or her family. But my cousin who stayed told me what happened. Her father raged, called her a disgrace to the family name. Her mother cried hysterically. Guests were filming, posting, turning it into social media spectacle. Nico's fiancée was tagged in multiple posts within an hour. Isla tried calling me 67 times that night. Left voicemails ranging from, "Please let me explain. It's not what it looks like. You humiliated me. How could you do this to me? I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Please just talk to me. You've ruined my life." That last one made me laugh. I ruined her life? I blocked her on everything, then sent one final text before the block took effect. Your belongings will be in storage unit 47B at Secure Store on Riverside. The key will be at the front desk. The apartment locks have been changed. Any attempt to contact me will be considered harassment and treated accordingly. Then I did something she never expected. I disappeared, called my airline that night, requested immediate transfer to European routes. They'd been asking me to take the Amsterdam-based position for months. 24 hours later, I was on a plane to start my new assignment. But before I left, I made sure a few things were in place. Contacted the hospital's HR through an anonymous tip line about a doctor potentially violating patient privacy by taking photos in restricted areas. Those hotel selfies had hospital badges visible. Sent Nico's fiancée a package with the full video and screenshots, with a note, "You deserve to know who you're marrying." Changed my social media to private, location off. Let me tell you what happened next through second-hand information, because I was 4,000 miles away living my best life. Update 1 week later. Currently writing this from my new apartment in Amsterdam, watching the sunrise over the canals. The last week has been enlightening. First, let me address something from the comments on my original post. No, I don't feel bad about the public humiliation. She spent 3 months making a fool of me privately. I spent 3 minutes returning the favor publicly. The difference? I used truth. She used lies. Now, the update you're all waiting for. The fallout was nuclear. According to my cousin, who's been my eyes and ears back home, the engagement party video went viral in our city's medical community within 48 hours. Someone had filmed my presentation and posted it in the hospital's Facebook group with the caption, "This is why you don't cheat on someone smarter than you." Isla's professional reputation took the first hit. While she hadn't technically violated HIPAA, the hospital wasn't pleased about those photos with visible ID badges in hotel rooms during conferences she'd expensed. They launched an investigation into her expense reports. Turns out, she'd been claiming reimbursement for conferences she never attended, submitting fake receipts while spending the money on hotels with Nico. That's fraud. Federal fraud when you're dealing with a hospital that receives Medicare funding. She was suspended pending investigation. Her father, the distinguished Dr. Harmon, chief of surgery, had to face his colleagues knowing everyone had seen his daughter exposed as a cheater and potential fraudster. He took a temporary leave of absence the following Monday. Her mother's charity canceled their spring gala due to unforeseen circumstances. But here's where it gets interesting. Nico's fiancée, a corporate attorney named Priya, didn't just dump him. She went scorched earth. See, Nico had been using his company's corporate apartment for his hookups with Isla, the one at the Meridian Towers. That's misuse of company resources. Priya made sure his firm's managing partners knew. She also found out Nico had been telling his fiancée he was working late on deals while actually with Isla. He'd been billing those hours to clients. That's fraud too. Investment bankers live and die by reputation. Nico was fired by Wednesday. Meanwhile, I was settling into Amsterdam. The airline put me up in temporary housing, a beautiful canal view apartment in Jordan. I started flying routes to Tokyo, Singapore, Dubai. Posted nothing on social media, just disappeared from the digital world. But Isla didn't disappear. Oh no, she doubled down. According to screenshots my sister sent, Isla tried to control the narrative on Instagram. Posted a long story about toxic relationships and emotional abuse and how she'd been driven to seek comfort elsewhere because I was controlling and manipulative. The problem with lies is they require evidence to be believed. The problem with her lies specifically? I had 3 years of evidence that contradicted every claim. Remember when I said I document everything? I had 3 years of texts showing nothing but support and love. Bank records showing I paid 70% of our bills despite us agreeing to 50-50. Travel receipts from romantic trips I'd planned and paid for. Screenshots of her friends texting me about how lucky she was to have such a devoted partner. Voice memos she'd sent, thanking me for being the most understanding man ever when she had to work late. I didn't post any of it. Didn't need to. Her own friends did it for me. Her bridesmaid, Simone, who'd helped her plan the affair cover-ups. She flipped when she realized she'd been made an accomplice to fraud. Posted screenshots of Isla asking her to cover for her during fake conferences. Her hospital friends who'd believed her emergency shift stories? They checked the schedules and realized they'd been covering for her while she was getting railed by her ex. The narrative collapsed within 72 hours. Then came the desperate attempts to reach me. She tried everything. Created fake Instagram accounts to message me, emailed my work address, called the airline trying to find my location, showed up at my old gym asking when I'd be in, contacted my mother begging for my new number. My mother, bless her, told her, "You had 3 years to appreciate my son." You chose to appreciate someone else instead. That door is closed. But the best part? The storage unit. I'd paid for 1 month. When she finally went to get her stuff, she found everything meticulously packed and labeled. But I'd included something extra in each box, a printed screenshot of one of her lies. Box of shoes? Screenshot of her saying she was at work while buying shoes with Nico. Box of dresses? Screenshot of her wearing them in his apartment. Every item came with a reminder of how she'd betrayed me. Petty? Maybe. Satisfying? Absolutely. She sent one last email before I blocked that too. Roman, I know you hate me, but please understand, I never meant for it to go this far. Nico and I had history, unfinished business. When he came back from London, it just happened. But I chose you. I was going to end it after the wedding. You were my future. He was just my past that I needed to close. Please, I'm begging you, give me a chance to explain. I've lost everything, my job, my reputation, my family barely speaks to me. You're the only person who ever truly loved me. I see that now. Please. I didn't respond. But let me translate that message for you. I got caught and faced consequences. The backup plan I was keeping turned out to be worthless. Now I want my safety net back because facing accountability is hard. No, thanks. Instead, I went for a drink at a brown cafe in Amsterdam. Met a KLM engineer named Astrid. Tall, blonde, laughs at my aviation jokes, and, get this, thinks honesty is the foundation of any relationship. We talked until 3 a.m. about everything except my ex. She asked why I'd transferred to Amsterdam. I told her simply, fresh start after cutting out a cancer. She raised her beer, to clean cuts and fresh starts. I'll drink to that. Update 2 months later. Writing this from Tokyo. Just finished a 14-hour flight from Amsterdam, about to have sake with the crew. Life update, I'm thriving. Isla update, she's spiraling. Let me start with me, because for the first time in years, my story doesn't revolve around her. The Amsterdam base has been perfect. I'm flying long-haul routes to Asia, building seniority, making captain pay plus international premiums. Bought a motorcycle, learned Dutch, basics, and started rock climbing at a gym in Noord. My apartment lease got approved, a 2-bedroom in De Pijp with a rooftop terrace. And Astrid? We're taking it slow, but it's good. Really good. She's direct in a way Americans aren't, told me on our 3rd date she wasn't interested in games or drama, just building something real. After 3 years of lies, her honesty hits like fresh air. She knows the whole story. Told her on date 5, showed her the video on date 6 when she asked. Her response? She's an idiot. You're clearly a catch. Now can we stop talking about your ex and plan our trip to Iceland? We went to Iceland last weekend. Northern Lights, hot springs, and not a single suspicious text or emergency shift. Funny how relaxing relationships become when no one's lying. But you're not here for my happiness. You want the karma update. Isla's life has become a masterclass in self-destruction. The hospital investigation concluded last month. Officially, she resigned to pursue other opportunities. Unofficially, according to a friend still working there, she was given the choice, resign quietly or be fired for expense fraud and have it reported to the medical board. She resigned. Here's what people don't understand about medical careers: reputation is everything. Every hospital Googles potential hires. Her name now auto-completes to Isla Harmon engagement party video and Isla Harmon hospital fraud. She applied to 6 hospitals in surrounding states. All rejected her after careful consideration. She's now working urgent care in a strip mall, making 1/3 of her previous salary. Nico didn't fare better. Investment banking is a small world. Word got out about the misuse of company property and fraudulent billing. He's blacklisted from every major firm. Last I heard, he's selling insurance in New Jersey. His fiancée Priya? She started dating a partner at a competing firm. Power move. But here's where it gets pathetic. 6 weeks after the engagement party, Isla started trying to rehabilitate her image. Created a new Instagram, portrayed herself as a victim of public shaming, started posting motivational quotes about rising from ashes and surviving narcissistic abuse. Then she made a critical error. She started a TikTok series called Healing from a Toxic Relationship. The internet destroyed her. Someone found the original video, posted it as a response. The comments were brutal. Girl, you cheated for 3 months and got caught. That's not toxic, that's consequences. Imagine calling someone toxic when you were raw dogging your ex during fake conferences. This you? with a screenshot of her Roman's sweet but oblivious text. The series lasted 3 videos before she deleted everything. Then came the really pathetic attempts. She started showing up places she thought I'd be. My parents' anniversary dinner, they had her removed. My best friend's birthday, he laughed in her face. The airline's annual gala, security stopped her at the door, she wasn't on the list anymore. Each time, she looked worse. The put-together doctor was gone. Replaced by someone desperate, thin from stress, designer bags replaced by Target knockoffs. Not shaming the brands, shaming the fall from the high horse she'd been riding. According to my sister, who ran into her at Whole Foods, she tried to corner her in the organic vegetables section. Please, just tell me how he is. Is he happy? Is he seeing someone? My sister, savage as always, he's living his best life on another continent with a woman who actually values him. How's urgent care treating you? Isla apparently abandoned her card and left. But the peak desperation came last week. She somehow found out about Astrid, probably from social media stalking through someone else's account. She sent an email to my work address with the subject line, "Please read, important information about your new girlfriend." The email was unhinged. Warning me that European women are cold and calculating, that Astrid was probably just using me for American citizenship, she's Dutch, they don't need our citizenship, and that I was making a mistake by not fighting for what we had. Then, the kicker, I know you're hurting and using her as a rebound. When you're ready to come home and work through this like adults, I'll be waiting. What we had was real. This thing with her is just you running from your pain. I forwarded it to my lawyer cousin with one word, harassment? He sent her a cease and desist letter. Her response? She showed up at my parents' house at 11 p.m., drunk, crying, begging them to make me talk to her. My father, who hasn't raised his voice in 20 years, apparently went off. You had your chance. You had a good man who loved you, provided for you, planned a future with you. You threw it away for what? Some investment banker who was also cheating? Now my son is thriving on another continent while you're here begging on my doorstep like a stray dog. Have some dignity and move on. Mom added, and if you ever show up here again, we're calling the police. They have a Ring doorbell. The footage is brutal. Isla on her knees in their driveway, mascara streaming, slurring about true love and forgiveness. The woman who mocked me as sweet but oblivious reduced to begging my parents in their driveway. Meanwhile, Astrid and I are planning a trip to Japan in October. She wants to see the autumn leaves in Kyoto. No drama, no lies, no checking her phone when she says she's working late. She actually works late. I've picked her up from the KLM hangar at midnight, seen her covered in engine grease, exhausted but excited about solving some mechanical issue. That's what a partner looks like. Someone whose words match their actions. Oh, and remember that college fund I'd started for our future kids? It's now my Adventures with Astrid fund. Already used some for Iceland. Japan's next. Maybe New Zealand for Christmas. Living well isn't the best revenge. Living authentically is. No paranoia, no spreadsheets tracking lies, no wondering if she's really where she says she is. Just truth. Trust. And someone who thinks I'm worth being honest with. Isla thought she was trading up with Nico. Thought she could have her cake, me, the stable provider, and eat it too, him, the exciting ex. Instead, she lost everything and ended up with nothing. And me? The sweet but oblivious pilot? I'm flying high. Literally and figuratively. Final update, 6 months later. This will be my last update. I'm closing this chapter permanently, and the ending is better than I could have imagined. I'm writing this from my apartment in Amsterdam. It's 7 a.m., Astrid is making breakfast, and I just got the news that made this final update necessary. But first, let me tell you about the last few months. Life has been phenomenal. Got promoted to captain on the 777, flying Amsterdam to Singapore. The pay bump is ridiculous. Bought a small investment property here. Astrid and I are officially living together. She moved in last month after we had a very Dutch conversation about practicality and feelings. No games, no pretense, just I love you, this makes sense, let's do it. Her exact words, Roman, I'm in love with you. Living separately when we spend every night together is stupid. Move in or move on. What's your choice? I chose her. Easy decision. We traveled through Japan, explored New Zealand, spent New Year's in Sydney. Every trip, she insists on paying half. After 3 years of funding Isla's designer taste on my salary alone, having a true partner is refreshing. But you want to know about Isla? The final act of this tragedy. 3 weeks ago, I was in Singapore on a layover. Got a LinkedIn notification, someone viewed my profile. It was her, using what looked like a professional headshot from better days. Her profile showed she'd left urgent care and was seeking new opportunities in healthcare. Translation: unemployed. I didn't block her. Didn't need to. Living well is its own shield. Then, last week, things escalated. My mother called. Isla had sent her a letter, an actual physical letter, asking her to give it to me. Mom, being the saint she is, photographed it and sent it to me to decide what to do. It was 12 pages. 12. The delusion was astronomical. Here are the highlights. She called our engagement party a misunderstanding that spiraled out of control. She claimed Nico manipulated her by threatening to tell me about their past if she didn't sleep with him, contradicted by her own texts calling him daddy and begging him to F her harder. Yeah, I had those screenshots too. She said I overreacted and should have handled it privately, after 3 months of private betrayal. She claimed she's been in therapy and discovered she has abandonment issues that made her seek validation, fancy words for being a cheating narcissist. The kicker, she forgives me for the pain I caused her and is willing to start fresh if I'm ready to be mature about this. She forgives me. The audacity. But the best part was the end. She said she'd be at our old coffee shop, the one where we first met, every Sunday at 10 a.m. for the next month, waiting for me to come home where I belong. I didn't respond. But I did something better. I was flying back to Amsterdam last Sunday, had a connection through JFK, the timing was perfect, I'd land at 8 a.m., could make it to that coffee shop by 10 a.m. if I wanted to. So I went. Not alone though. Brought Astrid, who was visiting her cousin in New York anyway. We walked in at 10:15. Isla was there, in the corner booth we used to share. She'd clearly made an effort, professional dress, careful makeup, nervous energy. She was facing the door, waiting. She saw me first. Her face lit up for a split second before she saw Astrid's hand in mine. I walked straight to her table. Didn't sit. Hello, Isla. Her eyes darted between me and Astrid. Roman. You came. I came to close this properly. This is Astrid, my girlfriend. We live together in Amsterdam. I'm happy. Genuinely, authentically happy. Isla's face crumbled. But. The letter. I read it. All 12 delusional pages. You haven't changed. You're still trying to rewrite history to make yourself the victim. That's not. Let me be crystal clear. You didn't make a mistake. You made choices. Daily. For months. You looked me in the eye every morning and chose to lie. You kissed me goodbye knowing you'd kiss him hello. You let me plan our future while you FK'd our past. She started crying. Please, not here. You're right. Not here. Not anywhere. Not ever. I pulled out an envelope, placed it on the table. Cease and desist order. Contact me, my family, or my girlfriend again, and I'll pursue harassment charges. The evidence file from your cheating is still intact. Every screenshot, every video, every timestamp. Your hospital might be interested to know their investigation wasn't as thorough as they thought. Her face went white. You wouldn't. I wouldn't have. Past tense. But if you force my hand, I'll protect my peace at all costs. Astrid, who'd been silent, leaned forward slightly. Her Dutch accent made it somehow more devastating. You had a good man. You threw him away for nothing. Now he's mine, and I don't share. Stop embarrassing yourself. We turned to leave. Isla grabbed my wrist. Roman, please. I'm dying here. I've lost everything. You're all I think about. I'll do anything. Therapy, counseling, I'll sign a prenup, I'll move to Amsterdam, anything. Just please. I removed her hand. Gently but firmly. You're not dying, Isla. You're facing consequences. There's a difference. And you haven't lost everything, you threw it away. Also a difference. Don't you feel anything? She whispered. I feel free. We left. Through the window, I saw her collapse into the booth, sobbing. The barista looked uncomfortable. Other customers stared. 6 months ago, that would have broken me. Now? Nothing. Not satisfaction, not anger, not pity. Just. Nothing. She's a stranger who happens to know my history. But here's the real update, the reason this is my final post. Astrid is pregnant, found out this morning. 2 pink lines. We weren't trying, but we weren't preventing either. She woke me up at 5 a.m., holding the test, crying and laughing simultaneously. So, Captain, ready for a different kind of journey? I'm going to be a father. With a woman who values honesty, partnership, and building something real. Someone who splits bills but combines dreams. Someone whose emergency shifts are actual emergencies. We're getting married next month. Nothing fancy, City Hall in Amsterdam, dinner with close friends after. Her idea, why waste money on a party when we could use it for the baby's future? My parents are thrilled. They're already planning to move to Amsterdam part-time to be near their grandchild. Mom told me yesterday, "This feels right, Roman. Astrid feels right. This is what love looks like, quiet, strong, honest." She's right. I could write more about Isla's continued spiral, the DUI last month, getting fired from another clinic, her parents cutting her off financially. But why? She's not my story anymore. She's just a cautionary tale about what happens when you mistake stability for stupidity, when you think grass is greener with an ex who's also a cheater. My story now is about 3 a.m. feedings in Amsterdam. Teaching my kid to fly. Building a life with someone who says what she means and means what she says. Someone who doesn't need to destroy something beautiful to feel alive. To anyone reading this who's been betrayed, it gets better. Not easier at first, but better. The key is to stop looking back at the fire and start walking toward the future. To anyone thinking about cheating, don't. Either fix your relationship or leave it. Don't be the explosion that destroys everything. And to Isla, if you ever find this. You were right about one thing in your letter. I did belong somewhere. Just not with you. I belong here, in Amsterdam, with a woman who knows my worth and adds to it rather than subtracting from it. With a child on the way who'll grow up seeing what real love looks like. You thought I was sweet but oblivious. Turns out I was neither. I was patient and observant. And when pushed, I was capable of walking away from everything I'd built rather than accepting less than I deserved. That's not oblivious. That's self-aware. That's not sweet. That's strong. Enjoy urgent care. Enjoy Tinder dates with men who'll never commit because Google exists. Enjoy explaining to everyone new why your engagement video went viral. Meanwhile, I'll enjoy Amsterdam sunrises with my pregnant girlfriend. Weekend flights to anywhere we want. A future built on truth instead of lies. You thought wrong about everything, Isla. But mostly, you thought wrong about me. I wasn't your safety net. I was your lottery ticket. And you tore it up for scratch-offs that turned out to be worthless. Your loss. Astrid's gain. My freedom. We both ended up exactly where we deserve to be. To everyone who's followed this story, thank you. Your support meant everything during the dark moments. But it's time to close Reddit and open the nursery planning books. This chapter is over. The next one is going to be beautiful. Captain Roman, signing off from 35,000 feet and rising. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.